Hello.
Hello, and hello from Florence.
Thanks to all those who've watched our NC500 series, parts 1 to 4. We've had quite a few questions asked, either directly within the comments or via email. And we thought we'd go through a few of those questions now and see what answers we can come up with. So the questions that we're going to be looking at are: how long did the NC500 take you? How much did it cost? What did you miss that you wish you'd done? Great question. Would you do it again? And if so, what would you do differently? How much did the weather affect your trip? And do you have any more video of all that single track road? So let's take some of those in turn. How long did it take you? Well, we had a window in time. It was 8 or 9 days. That also happened to match what at the time looked like an awesome weather forecast. It was just bright sun.
Time.
Yeah, bright sun every day on the forecast for the entire period. And as I understand it, down in England, you had great weather. We didn't. What I would say is that 8 to 9 days was far too short to cover the major sites. We ended up skipping a lot of stuff and doing a lot of driving, which I think was probably too much to be doing day after day.
This is the problem, though. When you book sites ahead, you don't always... If you run over something, you might think, I'd stay here tonight, but you can't because you've got something booked in further up. So booking sites, I think, can be a problem.
It can, and I think out of season, or maybe in the shoulder season, that would be much easier to just drive to somewhere and say, can we find a campsite here? Look on search for sites or park for night, that sort of thing. Middle of summer, I suspect it's going to be really busy and you'd have a lot of trouble doing that. So did we make a mistake by booking sites ahead? Well, we had to get round within this window in time. But yeah, we'd love to have taken more time.
But this is one of the reasons we bought this. I thought we could just stay at the side of the road, but you can't in Scotland. Well, although we saw vans doing it, am I correct in thinking you can't?
You're not supposed to really, but a lot of people get away with it, and I'd probably be willing to give it a try in several of those places. Lots of vans parked at the side of the road, and clearly they'd slept there overnight, and we were going by at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And they're saving money by doing it too. So as long as your van can stay off grid and you've got water and you've got room for your wastewater, and of course your toilet doesn't run out, I think staying off grid in some of the car parks or the laybys would be a good idea if you don't have a campsite to go to. I think that would be good. So what did you miss out that you wish you had done? A lot. Like we say, we raced round. The first night we drove up and we stayed at the Kelpies in Falkirk. And we wish we'd taken the time to actually go down to the Falkirk Wheel. We didn't. And we're going to go back to Falkirk because we would like to see the Falkirk Wheel. And as I understand it, you can park there for about the same amount, which will cover the cost in a moment. And they even have showers at the Falkirk Wheel, where at the Kelpies they don't. So we do want to go back there, don't we? Leaving the Kelpies and just after Loch Ness, we would have liked to have gone to a couple of the waterfalls, such as Rogie Falls or Fairy Glen Falls. Sadly, the weather was already turning then. It was getting cold, windy, and rain. And we decided to push on and skip those. I think if we went back, I really would like to take the time to go to those waterfalls. At Dunrobin Castle, we called out. Carol went in for a fridge magnet. I stayed outside with Florence. They do not allow dogs either in the house
or the gardens.
I sort of understand it.
They could have made some money from that. Yeah, you can bring your dog in. We'll charge you for the dog. I'm surprised.
So on a nice day, certainly without a dog, we'd have gone in Dunrobin Castle. With the dog, it made it a little harder. Maybe it's something we could do, tag team split. One of us goes in, the other one stays outside, and then change over. So Dunrobin Castle, we would have liked to have done more. Beaches up the east side, Dornoch Beach, Brora Beach.
Miss them all.
Yeah, after Wick, Castle Sinclair, Gurnigo, the weather was so bad it was closed. Duncansby Lighthouse and Duncansby Stacks, again, so windy, we decided to skip it and go straight to John O'Groats.
We never saw any puffins there, did we?
No, so we missed all the puffins. Dunnet Beach, we went to Dunnet Head. It was very windy, but we skipped Dunnet Beach because of the weather. Distilleries, there were so many distilleries at the side of the road, and
should point out I don't like whiskey, but I just thought it would have been nice to go in one. I would have bought a bottle to support them. We just didn't have time.
Yeah, on the north side, we missed things like Strathy Beach, Ardell Beach, Siena Bien Beach near Smoo Cave. Apparently that's a really nice white Caribbean beach, but nah, the weather was really against us. So as I'm saying, if the weather was good, we could have spent a lot more time. We may even have stopped off at these places and delayed going to the campsite even longer and arriving late there, but we didn't. The Drumbeg Loop, we missed out. Wailing Widows Falls, we would have liked to have gone to, but as you may have seen in the video, we're driving along and all the parking places are all full. I hate to think what it's like in summer, because we were there in early May.
But some of the places that we went to or went past, I don't think that there weren't wow factors, were they?
No, they weren't.
We should point out that we travelled a fair amount. We have done some amazing scenery, haven't we? Like Alaska.
Yeah, Norway.
Norway's stunning.
Yosemite National Park,
Yeah.
things like that. So everything we say about Scotland, was it impressive or not, is within the context of we've seen all these other things.
Yeah.
If we'd never been outside of Yorkshire's got some beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
But, Scotland might have had more wow factor for us, but it didn't.
It was nice down the west coast.
It was
very
certainly nice down the west.
But I just thought going up the east, it was
Bland.
Yeah, nothing to get excited about. But I am glad we did it, because there were some nice... We've seen the distilleries, although we didn't visit them. And I did get to the Castle of May and John O'Groats, which that was on my to-do list.
Yeah, I mean, the things that might be nice, certainly I would have liked to have seen them. I'd like to have driven over the Applecross Pass.
I wouldn't, no.
She didn't want to do that. But we skipped that because we actually took a shortcut after Carlskew Bridge. So, I mean, the scenery down the left-hand side definitely improved. And, in fact, the weather improved as we came south again. So, maybe that affects things.
And to be fair, the roads, I was expecting really bad roads. And at first I was gripping on like a budgie, because I thought, this is going to get worse. And we didn't see that many cars or vehicles coming towards us, so we didn't have to pull in that often. And as you were doing, if someone was behind you and you'd pull in for them, which I think goes a long way for the locals actually doing things like that.
Yeah, some of them were definitely in a hurry and, pull in and let them by. What did you do that you'd skip next time? If I'm honest, Smoo Cave was a bit underwhelming.
Yeah, we had to climb all that way down, and you said that there were lights and a waterfall, and I was expecting a visitor centre and a cafe even.
I wasn't expecting those, I must admit I wasn't. But Smoo Cave I've seen on some YouTube videos, and they've been amazed and you've got to come here, and we got there and I was definitely underwhelmed. So, yeah, we've done it. I wouldn't do it again. If you haven't done it, go see it. But if you're bad on your feet, if you're in a wheelchair or anything, forget it. It's really steep down. What else would we skip next time? I'm not sure. I mean, John O'Groats we've done. We probably wouldn't need to go again.
No. Castle of May, I would do again. I thought that was, but it's a bit like all the royal palaces. They do it well. They do it very well.
So the one a lot of people will be interested in, how much did it cost? This was a surprise.
Oh, get your pie chart out.
Got a pie chart here. We've broken it down into various categories of fuel, campsites, how much entrances cost, parking cost, souvenirs in the form of fridge magnets that Carol buys, and food, as well as some miscellaneous. Now, food, obviously, everybody's going to be different. Everybody eats different things. Some eat like church mice and others like big steaks and things. So, I was going to say, take this with a pinch of salt, but food was actually our most expensive part. Over the 8 days, it cost us £255.87. That does include eating out a couple of times. Corrie Charlotte Gorge, we had lunch there, and we had dinner in Rereg.
But the dinner was fish and chips, and that was £60, and the sausage roll and fizzy drink I had, did that amount to £20?
Yeah, £18, £20, something like that. So £255.87 was the total. Could we have spent more? Yeah. Could we have spent less? Yeah. So that's down to you. Fuel was our next biggest, and tank was full when we left home. We didn't fill up until we got to Wick, which is pretty high up there. When we filled up, that was £96.56. We went all over the top, all down the left-hand side, over to Skye and back, Glencoe, and across to Stirling before we filled up again, £96.74. And then we filled up when we got home again, for another £35.04. So the total for the fuel was £228.34. Is that more or less than you thought it was going to be?
You know, I don't take much notice of fuel. It's something, we've got to have it, so I put it in. I don't look at prices like you for fuel.
I did notice that the price per litre varied quite a bit. At home, I think it was 133, and at the top of Scotland it was 139 per litre, so quite a bit of difference there. The next big expense was campsites. We stayed at 7 different campsites, although the first one wasn't. It was the Kelpies. So at the Kelpies we arrived before the evening cut-off point, so we had to pay £2.50 from when we arrived up to I'm not sure if it's 5 or 6 o'clock.
6.
And then £15 covers you all night. There are toilets there, as we've mentioned, but no shower at the Kelpies. There is Ren at the Falkirk Wheel. So that was £17.50 total there. Up at Loch Ness, that was a camping and caravan club site, £32.50.
That was very good.
Yeah, it's a good site, that. Wick was an exceptional site.
Very good, yeah. But it had just been built, hadn't it? All completed this year, so...
Yeah, I don't know whether all those buildings have been rebuilt and the campsite's been there forever, or whether it's a brand new campsite. But that was £36.50. Hard standing, electric hookup, which they all were, apart from the Kelpies. North Coast Touring Park, right on the top. That was £37, and I was a little disappointed with that one. And Carol had a couple of issues. The soap dispensers weren't working in the ladies, and there was no soap. Ardmere Point down near Ullapool, that was £37.50. That was the most disappointing sight of the entire trip. There was no hot water, but the campsite was full, so maybe everybody else had been in before I got there, but there was no hot water in the showers. Rereg was £33. Then Glencoe, another camping and caravan club site, was only £26.42. So in total, campsites was £220.42. Again, was that more or less?
When you got this van, I wasn't taking a lot of notice about what it would cost to run, but I do remember you saying, oh, sites are only, and you sort of dismissed it, a bit like I dismiss things. And I think the sites, for what you get, some of them, I mean, I agree, the one at Loch Ness was really good. And
Glencoe.
And Glencoe.
And Wick. Wick was very good.
Wick was
but it was
very good.
£36.50.
But I can't help thinking, you're stuck in a field. It does seem pricey.
Yeah,
But
people have been moaning that campsites have really gone up in price in the last year or two.
But then we don't know what overheads they're going to have.
No, we don't.
Yeah, they're going to have insurance. They're going to have
staffing costs.
Staffing costs, yeah.
So our next biggest expense was souvenirs, or...
Oh, I'd hardly call that big.
Carol's fridge magnets, and you bought 9,
yeah.
I think it was. £41.25.
I must admit, I didn't think it'd be that much. So we've worked out that our refrigerator with our fridge magnets on is worth a bomb. It really is.
Or rather, it would cost a bomb to replace.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to buy them from us. Entrance fees. The only entrance fee we actually paid was at Castle of May. So for the two of us to...
Worth it, though.
Yeah, the two of us to go in there was £28. Miscellaneous. Once we left the Kelpies, having driven up over the A66 and up the M6, our windscreen was thick with dead insects.
We had picked those up, I thought, a lot in Yorkshire.
Yeah, going across the A66, we picked a lot up.
Awful lot.
So I had to go to Argos in wherever that is.
And with a mixture of fairy liquid and warm water.
Falkirk.
And then rinsed it, we got them off.
Yeah. So that was £17 for the big, long, squeegee thing. Parking. Scotland is really cheap for parking compared to England. There were a lot of car parks we went to thinking about Fort Augustus after Loch Ness, thinking about Inverness when we arrived there and we had lunch. You go to the machine and you get a ticket and it's free for the first 30 minutes. So as long as you got your ticket, it's free. And you only start paying after that. And they weren't that expensive. But we only actually paid parking in 2 places. The first one was John O'Groats, £3 for the entire day if you want to stay. The next one was at Aileen Donnan Castle, £3 for the time we spent there. So a total of £6. So the total for the entire trip, £796.88, which is more than I was expecting for 8 days going away in a campervan. It's almost £100 a day. And that's actually 7 nights and 8 days.
But if you were to challenge me, I could probably find a cruise.
Well, we've done cruises for cheaper. But you then don't get to see all the sights that you've seen around the NC500.
No.
So...
No, this is an entirely different venture, isn't it? You can't compare it. So,
would we do it again? Yes. Would we do it differently? Yes. Would we want better weather?
Yes.
Yes. So anyway, I want to thank anyone who's been watching the series, parts 1, 2, 3 and 4. We really appreciate you watching it. We especially appreciate the people who've given us a thumbs up. If you haven't done that yet, please do so. And of course, a fantastic thank you to all our subscribers. We really do appreciate each and every one of you. So with that, I think we're done. And we're about to go away again. So...
where did we decide we were going in the end?
Oh, we're not telling them that.
Oh, right. Okay.
No. We'll tell them when we get back.
You will tell me, won't you?
No. So with that, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.